What's up, guys? Nick V here, and in today's video, I'm going to be sharing my top 5 personal tips on personal branding for artists and creatives. Now, there are a lot of resources online that can teach you about personal branding, but I'm going to be sharing the 5 things that I found most effective for myself and my personal brand. Now, whether you're a graphic designer, a photographer, fashion designer, makeup artist, musician, you will benefit from having a strong personal brand, and it will boost your professional status as well. So let me get started with a quote by Andy Warhol, and he said, "In the future, everyone will be famous for 15 minutes." And what we see today, thanks to smartphones and social media, is that anyone can create a video or make an Instagram account and reach thousands and millions of people all over the world. And so basically, what we have today is that anyone can create media and blow themselves up and get famous without the help of, Hollywood studios or other traditional ways that people got famous. All right, so let's dive in with tip number one. All right, so tip number one is have a personal logo and use it. So while there's a lot more to branding than just a logo is still a very important component of your overall brand. Obviously, every business has a logo. A lot of musicians have their own logos. And it's very important because it's a visual representation of you and your brand, and it's going to be the image that connects your brand to people's minds. Now, there are a lot of different types of logos, but you're going to want to have your name in a font that you like and you stick with, and probably a symbol too. Now, you can use your real name or a stage name. A lot of people have stage names. I myself, I use my real name, Nick Valdivia, but I also use I am Nick V for a lot of my social handles and my online store. So if you're not a graphic designer, there are a lot of resources where you can get a good logo made at a cost-effective price. And one site is Fiverr.com. I'll include the link below. And on Fiverr, you can have someone or multiple people design you a logo and pay them, 5, 10, 15 bucks. And that'll solve that for you. Now, when I say use it, I mean you're going to want to put your logo on your social media, maybe attach it to any artwork you create, any promotional merchandise, anything that you want to represent you and your brand. You want to pretty much have your logo on there to make that connection. If you're like a musician, sometimes you may have a show poster, and it's okay to have your name in a different font and stuff like that. Obviously, you can't have the same look everywhere, but in the instances where you do have control over, how your name looks, try to stick with a consistent, font, and that will over time sort of develop its own connection to your brand and authority. All right, tip number two is build your online presence. If you're a serious artist or creative, you better be on Instagram and Facebook, maybe even Snapchat, LinkedIn, and other social media sites. All right, so this is for two reasons, one being networking and the other being promotion. You want to use these channels to showcase your art and to show people what you do, how long you've been doing it, and how well you are at it. This helps to show that you are active and serious about your craft. It's very important to show your work. People won't know how good you are if they never see your stuff. In regard to networking, These channels are going to help put you in touch with other artists and fans and people that may want to hire you. And they're only going to be able to discover you if you put your stuff out there. In addition to social media, I highly recommend having a personal website. Your personal website will act as like your online home base where people can find out about all your social channels, maybe your music, your merchandise, your artwork. They can get in touch with you. Having a personal website says that you are serious and it looks good on your brand. If you don't know how to make a website, you can also hire someone on sites like Fiverr, or there are sites like Squarespace that make it really easy. Even hosting providers like GoDaddy have tools that help you make websites pretty easily. Also, if you can, have an email address with your personal brand website. Like me, I use email at nickvaldivia.com, and that looks a lot more professional than a Gmail or a Yahoo uh, email address. Whatever channels you do decide to use, be sure to stay active because it won't do you any good to have a dead account, and it won't look good on your brand to have an account that is not active. Tip number 3 is be consistent. Brands are built over time, and it'll take time for your brand to build authority and gain exposure. You'll want to be consistent, whether it's with posting or art style, messaging, and content. This helps to develop a general theme or vibe around what your brand is all about. This helps your audience know what they can come to you for and what they can expect from you. You don't want to be all over the place posting a bunch of different things about your life that people don't really care about and don't add value to your brand. Unless, of course, if your brand is all about posting random things about your life and people just, see that, then that's adding value to your brand. But again, if it doesn't add value to your brand, don't do it. You want to stay consistent so that your audience knows what they can expect from you. So decide what your brand is going to be all about, what you're going to post, how it's all going to look, what you're going to do, and stick to that. And speaking of audience, that brings us to tip number 4. That is know your audience. So ask yourself, who is it that you want to connect with? And what kind of people do you want to attract to your brand? What interests do you share with the people that you want to reach? Knowing your audience is so fundamental to branding and marketing. And by knowing your audience, it'll give you a sense of what kind of content you should be creating and what kind of social media channels you should be using to reach them. If music is your thing, you should probably be on SoundCloud and Bandcamp. If you're a designer, you might want to have a Behance and a Dribble account. You got to know which channels and sites your audience uses to find the content that they're looking for. And then you want to position your brand and your content in those places so your audience can find you. And last but not least, tip number 5, keep developing. Keep practicing your skills and developing new skills and pushing yourself to take your craft to the next level. The better you are, the better your work will be, and the more impressed your audience will be. The better you are, the better your brand is, because your brand is you. That's what your personal brand is. It's all about you. Learning new things or getting better at things that you know will allow you to create new content and more content. Your work will stay fresh and not be so predictable because you're always, changing things up a little bit, trying new things and showing your audience something new. You'll get new ideas and be able to create new things if you just keep developing your skills and your abilities. You just got to keep developing yourself and your craft. So there you have it, guys. Those are my 5 personal branding tips that I felt were most effective for artists and creatives. Hope you guys liked this video. Please like and subscribe. You can also follow me on Instagram at IamNickV.